Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to another craft night with friends here. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So tonight we are finishing up our embroidery of the month. It's the Hummingbird embroidery. We actually finished stitching it last night, but I want to show you the way that I finish them, like the back, get rid of all the excess here, and get it ready to just hang up basically within the hoop. So I'm going to show you my favorite method for that, just quick and easy, and you can use the supplies that you still have from the kits, some extra floss, and you'll be good to go. And then we're going to do some fabric tinting. So this is one that we've done before, and I thought we'd take part of this hummingbird design and we're going to color it. So we're going to tint the fabric with some colored pencils. You could also use crayons as well. We're going to give that a little bit of experiment. That came up this week, so we have some time today. So based on what people are asking, we are going to go ahead and do that as well. So thanks again for joining. Let's get going, everyone. All right, hello. So let's zoom right down in here. We finished up our little embroidery last night, so I'm really happy with it. I just think it turned out so sweet. So now I want to finish it in the hoop. So what I mean by that is I want to finish it so I can hang it in the hoop kind of like this and have it be sort of cute there. So we're going to go through that process today. Actually, I'm going to zoom back out here. Sorry for the little bit of a roller coaster. I'm going to start out by just giving this a press. So I'm just looking at the hoop. So my hoop does have like some protective film on there. You can just pull that off. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to get one side off than the other, but you can just get a little tweezers and get it off. We're going to be covering up a lot of it with a ribbon, so I'm not overly concerned. Just thought we'd get this first little bit off. I just need longer fingernails. There we go. Okay, this will be enough because the rest will pretty much cover this up. But now I have some shiny little metal pieces there. All right, that'll be fine. Okay, so let's give this a press. I have my iron heated up. Oh, hey, nice to see y'all coming in. Oh, you got a half inch of rain. Well, that's something. We still have not gotten any rain. All right, so I like pressing on a towel typically, like a fluffy towel. This works really well if you get your piece wet first, and we can maybe do that. Like if you're using a water-soluble marker or something. I think I just have some rose water here. Let's give this a go. I'm gonna just spritz it a little bit. This is basically like steaming it. This is above and beyond. You don't need to do this for sure. I don't even think I needed to really iron it, but I had it here, so I thought I'd give it a try. So I like the mat, or the towel, the floofy towel, because then our stitches are going to press into it, so we're basically not going to flatten our nice French knots that we spent some time doing, so I don't want to flatten it. But my goal here is basically, I had like a seam or like a fold down the middle of this, and just to get rid of that hoop, even though we're going to be framing it in the hoop, so it doesn't really matter. I think I got this hot enough. So I'm just going to press, and I fully press on the back of the stitches, and I'm trusting, again, my towel here to kind of do the work of protecting my stitches. Okay, we definitely got rid of the those center folds, I think. Okay, what's interesting is I am smelling the thread conditioner, so I may be getting some of that wax on my iron, but it doesn't seem like it is. I think I'm just warming it up. All right, let's take a peek at what that looks like from the front now. there. I think that's looking a little bit nicer. We got rid of the ones going down the middle, and that's kind of what I was wanting. So, all right, let's get this framed back in the hoop. So now I really want to center it in here. So I'm going to just start by, I want to get that top right on the top here. Oop, jeez. There we go. Well, that's actually pretty centered right away, but I want to tighten it, get it really nice here. Hope everyone had a lovely day today. We had a little, I guess it's not an adventure. We had an outing today. I got a new phone after like 7 years with the old phone that couldn't take photos anymore and or video or anything. So I finally got a new phone that I'm going to be able to do tons more video on. So I'm hoping to have a bunch more coming up, more embroidery, more just chatting, more everything. So I'm pretty excited. I've just been setting it up, and man, been looking for a phone case, and is that ever an annoying endeavor to search for a phone case and compare phone cases? Just like, ugh. But anyway, I'm very excited. That was my kind of big spiel for the day. It's been a long time. I tend to keep these things. That and cars, like, you know, we'll keep our cars for like 20 years. All right, this looks great. So I got it all nice and stretched in there. It's totally flat and really nice looking. I'm going to tighten it up now. So this is going to be like my final position here. What I'm going to do next is grab a scissors, like a bigger scissors. And what I want to do is cut around the edge here. I'm going to leave about an inch, you know, about like what I got on the edge here. So about an inch around. You could do like a ½ inch would be fine, but I think an inch. Oh, Catherine, I got the iPhone 12 Max. Pro Max. So like the biggest, heftiest phone I could get because I want to do just tons and tons of video. It was between that. I mean, it is a huge, 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 huge upgrade, and it is the craziest, biggest one out there as far as iPhones for that. So definitely a splurge, but I think it's going to allow me to take tons more video, and that's really the goal. So I want to be doing a lot more. So if you want to see anything else coming up soon, I will be able to film it. So a lot more coming. Fancy for sure. So that was the outing for today. It was between that and the Samsung version, and I currently have a Samsung, so it's annoying to go back to an iPhone. Honestly, like I didn't really want to go back to the iPhone, but I do all that video, so transferring it to my computer to edit and stuff is just going to be much better with the iPhone. So made the switch. Alright, so cut it out all nice. So I got my like 1 inch or so all the way around. Now I'm actually going to grab some floss that we have still, and I'm going to cut a piece. I just went for this green, so I think we'll just go with it. I am going to cut a piece that is like the circumference of the circle, the hoop, plus maybe an extra 12 inches, so I have like 6 inches on each side. I mean, that's going above and beyond. I probably don't really need that much, but I like having more than less at this point. I can always cut it off. Okay, so I'm just kind of guesstimating, going kind of around like that, and we'll just snip it. I don't need that giant scissors anymore. Okay, and just because it's going to be easier to stitch through this fabric with less strands, I think I'm going to also separate this into 3 strands. I'm just going to take 3 out of here. Make it a little easier for myself. We're going to actually use this floss to stitch around the edge here, and that's what's going to hold our whole piece together. I just love this process. I think mostly because I can use stuff that I already have, like I'm using floss that was already part of the kit. Alright. So we had... I have phone on the brain, so I'm going to talk more about phone. No, we started looking at Verizon because that's who our phone line is with, and then because they were having a trade-in deal, but it was actually, we were actually going to lose money trading in our phone because we would have had to up the plan too, which is a racket. And then we went to Apple because it was going to be cheaper that way, and they wouldn't take my poor little phone. My poor phone was just too old for anybody. Nobody wanted it, so I still have them. I still have my old phone, which I kind of like because I really like that phone. I just couldn't do what I needed to on it anymore. All right, you guys, I won't talk about it anymore. So I have not tied a knot in here or anything, but I've threaded it. And I'm going to actually do a running stitch along this entire edge. So it's going to take a little while, but I love the effect of it. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to actually fold over the edge, so I'm starting on like the outside. So, you know, if all this ends up tucked in like this, I'm going to start on the outside. So I'm going to go about a 1/4 of an inch or a little bit more, probably between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch on the inside, or like on the edge here. So I'm going to start kind of right in line with the ring here. You wouldn't have to. You could really start anywhere, but I typically start at the ring. And I'm going from the, you know, I folded it over and I'm going from the top underneath, and now I'm just going to do a running stitch. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it can be a big running stitch, but we're just going to go along the edge here. And after you get a few stitches, before it'll get too tough to pull through, just pull it through and leave that 6 inches or so. I'm just going to let this hang here. And you could fold this flat again, but you don't have to. If you end up just keep bunching it up like that, that's actually perfect, because we are going to ultimately have it all bunched up like that. So we're just going to chill, going around the edge here. Uh-oh, except for I caught that 6 inches there. Oh, congrats, Sylvia, finishing your blocks. That's awesome. So this shouldn't take that long, and I still do want to do that demo on the coloring. So remember, we talked about the color tinting of an embroidery. So I want to go through that process yet. Because I think that's just kind of fun. We'll pick some colors. I think we're going to do the little flower bud that's in this design. And I didn't print out the PDF. So the PDF version of the pattern has the line art. So I think I'm going to just try and trace the color guide line art. Although I'm not sure that's the same size. But we're just doing it for funsies. So yeah, we have the kit available and the fabric only with instructions. So that has the instructions and everything. It just doesn't come with the hoop or the floss. But the neither of them have the traceable pattern in them anymore. That's only available with the PDF. So if you do want to stitch this onto something else other than, you know, the fabric, the pre-printed fabric, then you'll want to get the PDF. So I did not print out the PDF, so I'm just going to trace the color guide for now, but I think it might actually be a hair smaller. Maybe not on this one. Doesn't matter for what we're doing. Alright, so I'm about halfway done. If you find that if you're short on floss here, just pull a little bit of it, let it bunch up here, and you'll have a bit more. Oh, Joanne Favre had pillow forms on sale. That is definitely one thing to look out for when they have sales on that and like foam and stuff, because those can get pricey. So like finding those, especially foam, for like you know, for upholstery or something, that I'm always kind of a little aware of. We have a chair that I want to put a new seat on, but foam is always so dang expensive. But yeah, that's awesome, getting those pillow forms. Those are nice. Nice to just have on hand. A few pillow forms hiding out in like a standard size. Alright, we're getting there. It's kind of nice to do this with just this laying flat on the table and just go in and out here. I think this might have been easier if I was stitching towards me, but I don't know, maybe not. This seems to be working just fine. So it's a little extra work to do it like this, but anyway you finish this is going to be a little bit of work. And I just like this because I'm not using any glues or stabilizers or whatever, anything of any sort. I'm just using the thread that I have available, which is just kind of fun. And I just think this looks super cute when you're done too. You could do this, like you could put another piece of fabric in here, like if you didn't want to see the stitches, you could put just another piece of fabric in and then cut them in a circle together and then sew them together like what I'm doing now. You could actually do this part with the 2 layers of fabric. But I always like kind of seeing the design. I think that's kind of fun. But you could actually stitch something like a, you know, like a label almost. You could embroider like the information about the piece on a separate piece and then put that piece in here. That would be kind of cute. I've done that before. When it's a gift, I've put a second piece in there with, you know, who it's for and for what and dates and that sort of thing. So it's a nice extra touch, actually. We should just do that sometime. Do a little demo of that. All right, so we're getting there. So I'm gonna, once I get to like a stitch length away from this, that'll be my last stitch, and I'm gonna have it be outward like this one is. This is so fun coming up. This is my favorite part when we finish this up, when we pull it all together here. So running stitches is nice. You can just do a zillion stitches at once. Bit. Okay, so I'm gonna take the needle out. All right, so you can see I've ended with, I got 2 ends here. So it went around like this. I'm actually gonna cross them over so that where I finished up this one I'm holding in my left hand, and where I started I'm holding that in my right hand, so I'm holding it in opposite sides. And now here is the best part of this. You can just pull and it will all come together. So here it is. Zoop. Ooh, let's keep pulling. It's so fun. It just bunches up beautifully. It's just so freaking cute. So now all I do is tie it in a knot. I'm going to actually tie it in like another knot here. Do my best to do 2 knots. All right. And I always just kind of tie it in a bow, and then that's the deal. That is it. Just like so. Trim these little guys down, and that is all I do. It's just held shut like this. And what's nice about this is it's not permanent in theory. You could actually take this out, take this thread out, and you'd have like a circle, and you'd have enough that, you know, if you needed to applicate this onto something else, or, you know, cut it sort of, you know, to a square yet for a block, you could. So it's like a non-permanent way of doing it. And actually, you can actually, once you're done like this, I'll just show you guys, you can actually take it off the hoop, which is just, I don't know really why you would do this. I suppose you could hang it without the hoop, but it just kind of holds it there, and it's just kind of cool. There. We got a perfect little, like, embroidery cake here. It's just so fun. So that's just like another, like, one of the fun little benefits of framing it this way. So you could actually frame it like this without a hoop, and then, I don't know, maybe stitch a little, an extra piece of floss in the fabric here, and then you could hang it from a loop, or you could actually just, if you had a nail, you could just hang it from the nail, like so, too, on the wall. So you could just, yeah, on a pegboard, Sylvia, that's a great idea. So just like that, and we got our piece. I am, just for our sake here, I am going to put this back on, because I'm actually going to use this as part of the hanger. I think that looks pretty straight, so I'm going to tighten this up again. And I want to tie the little bow on it as well, because I think the bow is just a really cute touch to add at the end. And you can still hang this on like a pegboard, like so, or oftentimes I'll put the nail, I'll hang it right in the middle there. Okay, got it back on. Let's give this a try. So with the ribbon, I just kind of go around behind. Okay, I have tied about 10,000, I don't know, ribbons for our embroidery hoops, our old embroidery kits. So I have done a zillion of these. So how I like doing it is I have the 2 legs, right? I bring the left leg over the right leg, and then I bring what's now the right leg, I pull it through the loop, and you can see it's kind of going upwards. So I continue going vertical with that, and then vertical the other direction with this, and that's my first like little knot. And then with this side, the left side, I bring it up so it's just kind of flat. So the ribbon is laying flat, so I didn't twist it. Then I'm just going to hold it to the side like that. So again, my ribbon is flat. I'm going to just fold it up so it's still flat, and then like rotate it. And then if you're getting real picky, I add a twist to this ribbon because I think it holds it a little bit better. This is just me doing a zillion of these, so I can do these in like 3 seconds. But then you're just going to come around, and this is the tricky part. You're going to go through the hole that you just created, like so. And I'm going to grab that side, and I'm going to grab this side, and pull it, and that's how I can get like a perfectly horizontal little bow, and then I'll actually snip the edges. So if you guys want to see it again, just because I know I get asked this every once in a while, so I put it right behind the back. All right, so the left leg I'm gonna put on top of the right leg. So now I've switched them. So now the right leg is underneath, and now it's towards the left, and what was the left leg is now on top towards the right. This one, which is now in my right hand, I'm going to, it's going over, and then I'm going to go under and through that hole. Whoop, got a little wiggly there. Through the hole There we go, like so. And I'm just going to pull that straight up. And this will just be holding this one down, but this one will be going straight up. So now we're up and down. So with the one that's down, laying it flat, like I'm not like twisting it all up, like I'm not like twisting it like this. We're just going, it's flat, and I'm going straight up and grabbing the other side of it, so it's still flat. So once I'm holding it like that, I just kind of turn it at an angle, and then the top one I'm bringing down, and I'm not pulling tight yet. I have like a gap here, right? That little gap, and then I'm gonna poke the edge through and grab it, and then grab this side. And then we'll pull them both tight. And if it gets like too big, you can pull the legs a little bit and then pull it again. So that's the slow way of doing that. I recommend if you wanted to watch this again, go ahead and do that. I've done a zillion of these, so I can do it really fast. Like I'll get the legs going how I want, and then just go a little zoop, a little sideways, a little twisty twist, and a done, and zoop, and usually they all end up right where I want them. I know just where to grab them to be just right, but I can shape them a little bit more. So that's my speed typically. And then I'm gonna actually take this nice big scissors. That's a little bit big. We'll take this little guy. The next thing I do is to clean up the edges. I place the legs at a nice 45-degree angle. Get everything at kind of like 45-degree angles. And then I'll just cut, with this at a 45-degree angle, I'll cut just straight across. So, like so. And that'll give me my nice little flat edge there. And I'll just do the same thing on the other side. And there we are. Get rid of the little ends, and we got a perfect little bow just chilling out there. And I think it just adds just like such a sweet little touch to it. So that's the bow that came with it. That's what you can do with it. The other thing you can do with it, I'm not going to remove this, but the other thing is you could just wrap it around the top, like how we wrapped it at the beginning here, and then just tie it in a knot, and then tie it in another knot, and you'd have like a loop to hang it. So that's another option for the bow or the ribbon, is to just have a loop instead, so you can hang it from the loop. But there we are. We have a completely finished hummingbird embroidery with a cute back. It's always kind of fun seeing that, and a pretty little bow. All right, you guys, I want to move on to doing a little bit of this tinting. So I think I grabbed, I did. So I have my colored pencils. These are a variety of colored pencils. I think you can really use any colored pencil. You could also use crayons. I think colored pencils, you get a nice smoother look. I think they're more controllable, let's call it that, than crayons. So I just grabbed, this is like a crazy piece of just scrap fabric I had. I'm just going to actually cut a chunk off of this. There we are. We'll probably give this a little press too. But I would like to trace this pink flower onto it. And I think, oh yeah, I can see through it just great. So let's give it a press really quickly. Doesn't need much. And we will try some of this color tinting. Okay, great. Okay, first up, I'm going to trace the design, and I'm just doing this little itty-bitty thing just so we have time to stitch it, really. But I think the hummingbird would be so cool. Actually, this entire piece, I think, really lends itself to the color tinting. But we'll just do this little kind of, we'll call it a rosebud, even though I know this isn't a rose, but it could be. It could be like one of those like field roses, or what are those? There's some roses that look like this a little bit. In my head, it's a hibiscus plant. Well, yeah, I guess the stamen's really kind of big, but okay, I'm gonna pretend this is a rosebud. So I'm gonna just, I'm tracing with pencil, Because I don't really want to get this wet when I'm done. I haven't tested that for color tinting. I think it'll just like fade a little bit over time if you color tint. So I'm using just a pencil versus a water soluble marker, which is probably what I would have typically used to trace. So I do want to stitch this yet. That's why I chose something so little. I can see it just good enough through my fabric. So I do actually really like tracing with a mechanical pencil. This is just like a normal, like big mechanical pencil. I think you get really sharp, nice lines that all your stitches will hide. Like your stitches will go right over these. And that's pretty. And it kind of rubs away with time too, I think, and might even wash out the just the graphite. So I dig it. I think it's a great way to transfer a design, and it goes on really nicely too. It doesn't bleed or anything. So all right, there we go. So let's just color it in. We can do some tests. I'm gonna just grab some greens. Let's grab some bright greens. Maybe I don't know, this purple's calling to me. That could be fun for shading it a little bit. And then let's pick some bright pinkies out of here. No, it's not that bright. Ooh, here's a light kind of pink color. So you can test the colors. I would pick a part of your fabric that is a little out of the way of what you're going to be doing, and just test some of your colors on there. So you'll notice that it doesn't go on something just like how you'd expect, how you'd expect on paper. Sometimes it goes on a lot of color at once, and sometimes hardly any. I actually probably want to go a little bit lighter when I do the real thing, like go a little bit lighter, and then get a little, just add a layer and more layers if I want to get it darker and more filled in. This seems like a pretty good pink. This was a little more orangey than I thought. We got some bright pink. Let's see how this purple goes on. Ooh, real dark. So this might be fun for like a little bit of outlining or shading. Remember, we're going to be coloring these, obviously, or I mean, stitching them yet. Ooh, that's brighter than I thought. That is a bright green on here. Definitely different than I thought. Ooh, and that's kind of a grassier green. I would have expected the other way around. Oh, that's interesting. I think I need a darker green in here yet. How about this teal? I'm gonna get way down here, so you guys can see a little bit better the colors. Oh yeah, I do also have a paper towel. So behind me here, the other thing you'll want is a paper towel. So ultimately, when we're done coloring this in, I am going to put a paper towel down on my ironing surface, and then we'll turn this the wrong side up, and we'll press. And that will kind of set the color a little bit, especially if you're using crayon, I expect. Okay, those are all kind of pretty, those greens. Let's just go with what we got here. I'm not sure about that purple, but I do kind of like this crazy bright pink. So I think I'm going to stick to these guys here. Maybe we'll do some outside colors. I don't know. But for now, I just want to kind of tint the edges. So I kind of like the look of just a little bit of color versus it all filled in, I think. So I'm going to go with just a little bit of edge that I'm going to try and fade into white, at least for the rose part. So I think I'm going to just go real lightly on the edges, like it's, you can't go backwards, so you start light and work your way to darker. So, but I think in these bits I might go darker, but I'm these like double line areas, but I'm gonna still start with them light. This is gonna just be a real subtle effect, and remember we can add more color with the stitching, so I don't need to go super crazy. I think this is just gonna be really kind of subtle and cute. I don't know if you guys can even tell, but we are just barely tinting with that pink. I'm gonna just go back with some of this, maybe get some of this interior stuff a little bit with this really bright pink. Those double line areas, maybe on the edge, or maybe when it gets towards the bottom here. Ooh, that was a little dark. A little darker than I wanted, but I do want to get it darker as it goes down here. There, so as we get down into where it connects, maybe I get a little bit of this green, or this pink. So I'm just kind of making small little circles, and it's like you're adding like blush to it, just like a hair of blush that you're blending into it. So all right, so that's kind of cute so far. Again, it's super subtle, but I think with a pop of pink stitching, it'll really be nice. So let's get a little bit of this green in. So I'm just using colored pencils. You can use crayons though. Oh, Amy says, just know that the Derwent Inktense pencils are watercolor pencils, and adding water makes it spread. Oh, and you must heat set it. So that's kind of interesting. So I was going to try that too, but I thought, I might not have enough time. So my husband has some watercolor pencils that I thought would be fun to play around with. Yeah, because then you can get kind of like a watercolor look to it and, you know, blend it all together, maybe even more. So again, I'm just kind of going on the outside. Well, not the outside, like the inner edge. I'm leaving kind of the center area. I think, again, it's just like a subtle, pretty look. Adding some more, just a different color, just to give it a little bit more depth, maybe. Maybe just on the tip I do that other color. That looks kind of cool. Again, super duper subtle, but there we go, kind of pretty there. And feel free to go crazy with the color. Like, I know if I'm drawing on paper with colored pencil, like in an artsy whatever way, I'll even add like some red to the shadows of green and some green, you know, to the red parts. I'll just be a little bit more playful. I'm going to add a little bit of this. Get the tips of this green a little bit pretty. A little bit more defined. Ooh, there, that's looking fun. That's looking sweet. I feel like I need a little bit more zhuzh in this pink, so let's get a darker pink. What does this look like? Okay, that'll do it. So I want just a tish more in this double area. Maybe just at the tip a little bit. Give it a little bit more dimension, maybe. Tiny bit on the edge. Tiny bit more in the crook here. And I mean, at some point I'm probably going overboard, right? So I think I'm going to actually stop there. It still looks like it needs a lot, right? But that's going to come with the stitching, I think. So I've kind of left this area open. I think that's actually going to be kind of nice. And just from looking at this, just like I do like this front the best, and I do actually like this roof that's a lot of different colors. I like that a little bit better than when I filled in the color. So that's why I'm erring on the side of just like zhuzhing the edges a little bit. So I think that's kind of cute. So why don't we, I do have a smaller hoop. So I'm going to grab my 4-inch hoop. Let's just add some oh wait, no, we got to press this yet. But I want to add just a little embroidery to this. But before I do that, I would need to heat set it. So I'm going to come up here a hair. I'm going to get the iron's warm. So just going to place this down just to protect the surface. And I'm going to heat set that. So I'm just going to press on the back. You can do this with crayons. Certain paints you can too, I think. Oh, it's getting so curly on the selvage. Ugh, I should cut the selvage off, but we're fine. Whatever. Okay, that should do it. So now we should be good to go to just stitch right on top of this. And you know, it's looking really kind of vintagey and cute. I kind of am really digging it. So, all right, let's add the final like fun to this. Oh, Lynn says, I love how you blend all the colors. I do the same thing. Yeah, feel free to play. And remember, you can play on the outside, too. Like, if you're not sure, you know, what color you want your leaves, draw, you know, a little leaf shape and try and test some of the greens together and keep layering them and play around with them and see what you like. I've done a lot of color penciling in my day, so I have a little bit more confidence in blending colors and stuff a little bit to go like right into it, but I definitely recommend have another little piece of fabric because again, it's gonna feel different than paper for sure. But yeah, and just start light is what I think. Start light and keep adding to it. So there we are, kind of our little zhuzh. And all right, I'm gonna do the same colors that were in the embroidery. So we're gonna do this pale pink. I'm just gonna I need a whole new piece here. So let's separate our threads and we will stitch this guy up pretty quick. I think it's gonna look so cute though. This would be a cute little patch. I mean, just like a little thing like this. I mean, we could actually turn this into something pretty sweet if we wanted. And I do this often actually. I take just elements from an embroidery design. I've done that with like the drinks for two embroidery. I've just taken one of those birds and stitched it before. It's pretty fun. All right, needle. There you are. You know what? I'm gonna do. I just changed my. Well, nah, we'll do it this way. I was just thinking, I'm gonna do 2 strands and I don't have to do an away knot, but I've already cut this and we're already here. So I'm gonna do an away knot. And I'm actually going to go through the fabric a couple times just because I don't have much space here. So I'm going to go up here and here, and this is going to be reserving, you know, my 4 inches of floss here or so. All right, I'm going to just start. Okay, let's see if there's a good path for this. I could start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Haha, that's what we're doing. So I'm going to start. Well, can we go this way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right, we'll start on this side. So I can still see my pencil lines there, although they're a lot more subtle now that I've colored over them. But, oh, it's already so sweet. Just with 1 stitch, I can see it's going to be awfully cute. So another option would be to, I didn't really round this out very well. I didn't trace this very well, but you could color the outside too. We talked about that a little bit, like doing sort of like a tie-dye look would be kind of cool because this kind of looked like tie-dye behind here a little bit. I think that's basically like this. It would be like if we just did all our little sample colors in the background, so that would be kind of cool. I just thought I'd do this tonight, but I love the idea of making like fake tie-dye. Yep, Lynn, you're exactly right. You can always add color, but you can't take it away. That's with this process. That's why starting light and practicing on an edge is good. I like filling in that kind of double edge area. I think that'll be pretty. It just adds a little something. So I think, it's still all about the embroidery, because that's the, the most visible 3D part of it all. But it's just such a sweet little mini addition to it to add that little bit of color. And it's just fun. It's plain just fun. I mean, embroidery already is a lot like coloring. I feel like you just draw the lines, or like you stitch right on the lines. So to add like actual coloring with it, where you stitch within the lines, it's really fun. Ooh, maybe Amy can answer that, Robin. So Robin's asking, with the Inktense watercolor pencils, can you use them without water, or will they run with when washed? I suspect if you heat set them, that'll help a lot, and maybe Amy will say, but over on YouTube. But I don't know. I guess personally, I'd be a little hair wary of washing them. Because watercolor pencils are meant like on purpose. Like when you get them wet, they become like watercolor. That'd be something good to test. But I would definitely test that before running it through the wash. If I really was going to color tint something, and it wouldn't really be color tinting then, but like if I knew I was going to make a piece that I wanted to color in somehow that I knew was going to be washed a lot, like if I was doing this on, I don't know, like a coat or something, or I don't know, a shirt, then there's other things I would do. So like Paula's asking, do you use a medium before you heat set? I did not. But if you're really doing stuff, there is special sealers you can get. I have not looked into any of this stuff very much, but like there's a special, like, you could use acrylic paint really, and then I think there's like an acrylic fabric sealer you can get, like from Dick Blick, or Blick Art Materials, I mean. And I would look into that a little bit more. So if you are really going to be washing it and you want it that permanent, there are products out there to help with that. I have not dug into that too much, just enough to know that they're out there. But like a painting, like you can paint this like clear coat on top of it to seal it, if you're going to do like a lot of washing. All right, but there we are. So it is still pretty subtle. Like we filled in those gaps a little bit with the color. Kind of can't see all the color that super close to the edge, but this color I think we'll be able to see later. I think maybe I would have filled this in a little bit more, but I think we're fine. All right, I want to stitch the little green. All right, so Amy says they may still run the watercolor pencils after heat setting. I would only use that brand for wall art. That feels right to me. Like that feels smart. Okay, Amy says I would use alcohol-based inks like Sharpies if I was washing it, and again heat set it. Yeah, washing it if you're really intent on that, like if it's a shirt or something, or like a onesie for example. I would do some research into some specialty things that are meant for that. I know, like I said, there's some sealers you can get and like acrylic-based things, which are basically plastic to some extent. But yeah. But if you're just doing something like this and it's just going to be like, I don't know, a book cover or hang on the wall or something, or, something that's not going to have a lot of wear, or you don't mind if it fades a little bit or runs a little bit, then everything's fine. Okay, there's the pink. Let's get a little bit of green in there, and we'll take a look at it. So you can kind of see though already the difference between the two. I mean, this is super subtle, but when you look at it against one that doesn't have any, you can tell that there is some shading and some stuff going on in there. All right, let's do the green. I might have... Ooh, we have a hair bit of green here. Let's see how this does. Oh, didn't I just separate a ton of green? Yeah, I have a whole thing of green here. I guess this isn't very long either. I thought we just did a whole thing of green and separated it. It's probably on the floor. Oh well, this will be fine. Needle. Oh, I see it now. Alright, well, I still think this is going to be enough. No, I'm going to use the big giant piece. It's freaking me out. I don't want to play thread chicken. Okay, so let's weave in the ends. Oh, thanks, Robbie. Robbie Lynn. Okay, 2, 3. And I'm going to get that little fuzzle that's standing up out of the way. Reason, I guess, but and I think you know, I do like the big stitches, like the big look of the stitches, the nice defined stitches, but you could outline this with 1 strand or 2 strands if you wanted it a little bit more delicate. I'm still using the 3 strands here, so I think that'll be a good comparison to the one that we did on the actual embroidery. The hummingbird one. We'll do 2 more stitches here. These leaves are going to look nice with a little extra tint. So where I think this would look really pretty would be, like I said, on the hummingbird itself, or like these bigger shapes. I mean, I chose like the smallest, probably most subtle part to test this on, just so I could stitch it and color it this evening. But even with a little bit, I think you can tell, and it's sweet. But if you did the whole thing and like the bigger pieces, especially with like, you know, edging that, like adding the blush to it a little bit, would be just really pretty. Try the sewing method here. Extra zhuzh. Alright, again, super subtle. I chose a super subtle one to do it on, and I didn't fill it in all the way, which I kind of actually like. I like just the little extra. But let's compare it to the one that doesn't have anything. I'll take it out of the hoop too, so we can get them right next to each other. I just love all the little color bits up there. See, it'd be fun to do a whole piece, just a whole pile of just color bits on the outside and then stitch on top. That'd be kind of cool. All right, let's put this right next to our other one. It's a little different fabric, but there we go. Just like the little subtlety in the leaves, I think is pretty. Very subtle in the flower, but it's there. I think the leaves especially look nice, and then we got that filled in effect with the flower by doing it. It's a little teeny bit extra, and like I said, if you're doing some bigger shapes, it'll look like really nice. So there we go. That is the basics of color tinting. So again, I think it's awfully sweet. It's a nice little extra piece, and it's just really fun to do. All right, you guys. Okay, so a couple fun things. Finished our hummingbird embroidery kits. I'll have to I might start hanging them all up behind me there. Just to have all of the embroidery of the months behind me there. And yeah, just that color tinting. This would be super sweet, like on a shirt or something. Little applique of that. So yeah, experiment with that. If you do make something or if you try it out, please share in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. I'd love to see it. Just see what you come up with. Yep, it adds, Patty, you're just right. It adds a little bit of dimension, especially the way that I did it, just kind of coloring the edges. You could fill it in more for sure if you wanted. But I do kind of like a little bit of that fabric coming through too, just tinting it. But yeah, fun. So yeah, again, please share. Love to see it. And have a fabulous weekend, everyone. We will be back here on, by we, I mean me, and you guys. We, all together, will be back here on Monday. So have a great weekend, and I will see you then. Good night.